Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Debra Maggart. She's a lobbyist on the Hill, former state Republican legislator, and Michael Sullivan, who's the executive director of the state Republican Party. Debra, I want to start with you. You served for a number of years with Glenn Casada when you were in the legislature. You even went to college together.
We did. Glenn and I have been friends since we were about 20 years old, so I think I've known him the longest of anyone. And I would not be a good friend if I did not say something great about him sitting here today. He did a great job as Speaker. I know there's some people in the caucus that didn't like this, didn't like that. Having served as the caucus chairman, I know that you can't make everybody happy. It's just part of being in leadership. And I think that it's unfortunate that this has happened because Glenn really gets a lot of credit for leading us into the majority that the Republicans enjoy today.
So when you've known him over the years, you didn't see any problems that might come from leadership, such as the things that have happened with the text messages and the other things going on, the eavesdropping and things like that?
Well, and that's not even true. There's a lot of things in this story that are not factual. Like, for example, the scandal with Cade or supposed scandal with Cade in the email, that's been proven that didn't even happen. That's not even what happened.
What do you mean it didn't happen?
Well, the IT folks have come out and said that email was sitting in the
What about the emails that were sexist? What about the ones that were racist? Those happened.
And they were
and nobody's debating the dates of those.
But Cade, one of the emails that Cade had that was racist, Glenn wasn't even on the text thread. The other email that was supposedly racist, Glenn was on a text thread and he didn't even respond to it. He said nothing to it. So he's he's apologized for those things. He's apologized for those text messages.
I'm just going to have to interject though and say that well, you can sit here and debate the merits of, have individuals changed? Is this who they are today, or where they were, 3 years ago or 2 years ago? It became clear early on that there was an effort to hide the factuality of what was true. And while we can debate what's true, what's not, TBI is still investigating as far as we understand the email issues. But, there was an effort to cover up what the speaker knew was true, and that's not leadership.
And he may have lied about it.
Wait, are you talking about the email or the text messages?
The text messages, again, TBI is still investigating the email, but as far as the text messages go, I mean, you have a phone recording that came out that, is, hey, did you release these text messages? Acknowledging that they're real, but then at the same time telling radio hosts, oh, they're made up, they're not real. And that's an effort to cover up something that is true and factual. And you said, could he have weathered, you think he could have weathered the storm, and people can debate that for as long as they want as well, but you can't when you make a concerted effort to cover up.
But did you talk to him about it? Because I did talk to him about it. Did you talk to
I did not, but the facts were pretty clear and they were straightforward.
Well,
he covered up what he knew was true.
From what I understand, he called Ted and said, Ted, tell me about this. Do you know about these emails? Or, I'm sorry, not emails, these text messages. Because Glenn told me he didn't even keep his text messages, and Ted would not admit to it. So
but he responded to emails. He must have read them enough to know.
I'm talking about the text messages.
Well, he responded to text messages. He knew what he was doing when he responded to them.
I think he read them. But I believe that but they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I would hate for anyone to have to spread out their text messages from 4 years ago.
But if you're calling someone saying, did you release these text messages, then you believe that they're real. You're not sitting there and you're making these phone calls and the next day saying these were produced by some liberal in someone's basement.
But Ted would not tell him. And so he just said, okay, because he doesn't have them. He didn't have them. I mean, we can debate that all day long.
Deborah,
I just don't. Let me just say this. Yeah. I think for when we have a president who, a lot of people love Donald Trump, when we have a president who does some of the things that he does as a Republican, and Glenn has these, text messages that almost sound like, I'm talking about not the, I can't help what Cade did. Cade, whatever he did on his private
he's already
text,
used the locker room talk.
Whatever that is, right. I mean, I don't know that someone apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, I was on this text thread and I didn't.
This is it. There's no more. These two text messages were it, and then we have a third conversation come out.
Well, I don't think I mean, again, some of these text messages, Glenn wasn't even in the text thread. He wasn't even on it. So, he apologized, and it's over. I mean, no one's going to forgive him. So, but we forgive our president all the time.
No one said
for
anything
stuff.
about
You've
not
been
forgiving
comfortable with
him.
the atmosphere in the legislature, both in the time you were there as an intern, and also when you've been there as
well, I can tell
it's
you,
not still a frat house up there?
I can tell you that when I first came to the legislature in the 80s, under the Democrat leadership, it was like Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, the things that people did were unbelievable. And it's interesting that the Democrats are so unhappy with Glenn, and they were silent of all the years that things went on at the legislature. I mean, we had a member one time that had a topless bowling alley, for crying out loud. I mean, there are people that have been so upset with the speaker, and they're not putting it into perspective of all the other things that have happened.
So who is the next speaker? There's even a lot of people who want to do that, assuming there is going to be a new speaker. Glenn Casada eventually is not going to be. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be one of the rookies? Is it going to be somebody else?
If they follow the House rules, it will be Bill Dunn. I
mean, technically, according to House rules, if he resigns at 8:01, Bill Dunn's the speaker.
But if the caucus picks, would that be somebody else, and who might that be?
Hard to say. There's so many people running. There's at least 6 people, I think maybe
the list is up to 7. But it'll be interesting. I think there's a lot of good candidates out there that have shown that they know how to lead, that they can unify the caucus. And so it'll be a really interesting race.
Michael, you've got some people coming up to Statesman's Dinner. You're going to be okay with that? Your sales are okay? You're going to have the crowd?
Yeah, we're excited. Our Statesman's Dinner, off election years are always a little smaller, but we still are going to have well over 1,000 people at our dinner this year, and it should be a great time.
Michael, thank you for coming. Debra as well.
Sure, thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get into politics in the meantime, come to the website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.